The courtroom was still. Writers braced themselves, pen poised, for the instant that could shift the entire scene. The doors creaked open. Ominous silence swept through, and in strolled the man the country had been waiting for, the chief FBI agent in charge of raiding Diddy's personal home. He wasn't famous. He wasn't a performer. But when he took a seat at the witness stand, the whole room moved forward. This wasn't speculation. This wasn't hypothesis. This was federal fact. The prosecutor's tone was firm. Agent Monroe, please inform the court what you discovered in the secret vault in Mr. Combs' Beverly Hills estate. The agent didn't respond immediately. He simply gazed ahead, then gradually he started. Behind a fake wall, the vault was hidden. Biometric clearance was needed to access it. Not even house staff had any idea it existed. Gasps filled the courtroom. Diddy's attorneys shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Diddy himself sat impassively, clenching his hands until knuckles whitened. Within that safe, Monroe explained, was more than mere money or corporate documents. There were encrypted disks, classified files, photographs, contracts, even handwritten journals, and the most chilling aspect, a pattern. The prosecutor leaned in. What sort of pattern? Leverage, Monroe answered. Documents on celebrities, corporate executives, politicians, audio tapes, video recordings, private remarks, some dating 20 years back, all stored for one purpose, control. The room burst into whispers. The judge hammered his gavel, but it was too late. The damage was already done, and then came the words that changed the whole case. The vault wasn't a panic room, Monroe stated. It was a control room. The room froze. Even the jury looked stunned. Monroe went further. He spoke of secret folders marked pending insurance, Fay level red. That, the FBI said, translated into proof of the most sensitive kind, material connected to coercion, threats, and possibly crimes of national proportions. What was it filled with? Wire transfers, surveillance footage, phony documents, blackmail materials set up like ammo. This wasn't insurance. Monroe deadpanned. It was extortion waiting to be employed. The courtroom couldn't believe its ears. Jurors fidgeted uncomfortably. Reporters halted pens. Everyone just listened. There were passports and aliases, unmarked stacks of cash, even a printed list of celebrities and public figures, each one described as owned, owed, watch, or target. Not paranoia, a system. And then the bombshell. The last encrypted folder, the name Icarus. Inside was one video, 27 minutes. No edits, no cuts, just Diddy. By himself in a recording booth. He paced, sweating, talking to himself. Then he sat down, stared straight at the camera, and said, "You think I didn't prepare for this? You think I don't understand the game?" I've watched men rise and fall. I've caused men to rise and fall. They all believe they're free, but I control the script. He confessed to spying, to manipulation, to staging smear campaigns, to destroying reputations, and he smiled at the end. Even when they come for me, they won't believe it. They'll tell themselves I was acting. Doesn't matter. The vault contains the truth, and no one's got the guts to open it. But the vault had been opened, and now the world was hearing his confession in his own words. The courtroom fell silent, not relief, not celebration, just the hush of a legacy crumbling. Brick by brick, the judge finally broke his silence. His words weighed. Mr. Combs, you are not here because you are famous. You are here because of what you did. And no amount of power, status, or wealth can protect any man from responsibility when that power is founded on other men's ruin. The gavel hit, the case was reversed, and the man who had been untouchable was now exposed. The throng in front of the courthouse became more raucous. Cameras clicked, microphones were pushed in, journalists yelling for a quote. But Diddy was silent. He didn't glance left, didn't glance right. He simply walked, head bent, shackles clanking with every step. Inside, the jury remained immobile. Some were white, knuckled, some shaking. They had just seen history. Not scandal, not rumor, but the collapse of an empire. A juror whispered below his breath, "This isn't music anymore. This is war." The prosecutor collected her files. She did not smile, did not gloat. She knew the case was not about winning. It was about revealing. Each file, each video, each statement given in that vault, it had pulled the curtain on decades of domination. Journalists rushed to air reports, headlines flashed worldwide. The vault of terror. Diddy's confession, a Titan falls. But this is the thing, the trial didn't end. This was merely the beginning. Federal investigators continued to uncover. There were still encrypted hard drives, still envelopes sealed, still names on that list who had not yet been called to testify. And that is the creepy part. If one man had so much power over so many lives through silence and secrets, how deep does the rabbit hole actually go? Who else was in on it? Who else was playing along? Who else is still lurking in the shadows? As the night descended, the courthouse cleared out. But the burden of the day remained. Victims departed with tears in their eyes. Some at last talking to reporters, their voices shaking but unrestrained. For the first time in decades, they weren't afraid. And in the distance, as Diddy was being loaded into a transport van, one camera captured him looking up for just a flash of a second. No smile, no words, just a look that seemed to scream, "This isn't over," because perhaps, just perhaps, the vault wasn't the end. Perhaps it was just the beginning. The transport van pulling away from the courthouse with Diddy inside had tinted windows, but they reflected the bedlam outside. Protesters yelled one side, supporters screamed the other, and police fought to separate the two crowds. The air was charged, like the nation itself was split in two. Within the van, the silence was suffocating. Diddy remained chained, looking at the metal floor. Every noise, the rattle of metal, the rumble of the engine, sounded like a countdown to something greater, because deep down, he knew this wasn't so much about him anymore. His empire wasn't crumbling in solitude. He was pulling others down with it. And investigators, they knew it too in the background. Federal agents were hot on the trail. Each leaked phone call, each encrypted hard drive, each financial transaction, they all led to names far removed from the music world. Politicians, executives, celebrities, names people never believed to see in the same sentence as Diddy's. Meanwhile, the prosecutor returned to the courthouse and called in her staff to a secure room. The documents spread out on the table seemed less like proof than bomb sheets upon sheets of phone bills, contracts, and blackmail letters. An assistant leaned in to whisper, "If this ever becomes completely public, it is not Diddy alone who is going down. This could destroy industries." But while the investigators pushed forward, something darker brewed in the shadows. Whispers spread online. Anonymous accounts posted strange warnings. You're not ready for what's next. The vault wasn't the biggest secret. It was just the door. The general public lost it. Conspiracy theories were bursting forth on forums. Hashtags were trending overnight. Videos gained millions of views in a matter of hours. Everyone needed to know. What else was it covering up? Who else was it concealing? And why were so many celebrities suddenly shutting down on social media? As that, meanwhile, began to emerge were survivors of Diddy's reported abuse. Their accounts were chilling, years of silence, manipulation, and terror finally shattering into the light. Some wept as they testified, some trembled with outrage. But every word fueled the flame, every account made the vault look less like proof and more like the tip of a behemoth iceberg. While networks reported on the storm unfolding, numbers soared. All channels, all podcasts, all blogs were fixated on the same headline, Diddy's empire shatters. But what individuals didn't know was this. Diddy hadn't spoken his last word. That evening late, from within his holding cell, he insisted on making a phone call. Guards demurred. Lawyers rushed about. Who was he calling? When finally the call came through, he said only a few words into the receiver. Words no one else could detect. Words that in the opinion of one source, made the guard who heard them go white and tremble. Hours passed, and mysterious posts started popping up online. Anonymous posts, sound bites, altered voices. Others said they were straight from the vault itself, unfiltered, live, terrifying. The internet went wild. Was this Diddy's work? Was he sending a message in from the inside? Or was someone else directing the show now? By midnight, one thing was certain. This wasn't going to end in a trial. It wasn't going to end in prison time. It was coming apart into something international, something much more sinister. Because the vault, the depositions, the lawsuits, those were only pieces. What was out on the horizon was larger, darker, and unassailable. And here's the scary part. Bro Diddy knew it. That is why he remained quiet in court. That is why he kept his head down when cameras went off. He wasn't beat. He was waiting for the moment, waiting for the storm to come. The world believed that they had witnessed the demise of a mogul. But what they had actually done was open the doors to a war of secrets, dollars, and power from Hollywood to Washington, from record companies to boardrooms. And the question that was bothering everyone now was not whether the truth would emerge. It was when, because when it does, it won't just bring down Diddy, it could bring down everything the following morning. The world awoke to pandemonium. News anchors, talk show hosts, podcasters, everyone was rushing to keep pace with the flood of leaks emerging overnight. Social media blazed. Hashtags on Diddy trended globally, but what took everybody by surprise were the other names that began to surface. Alongside his initially, it appeared as random gossip, anonymous comments, fuzzy screenshots, uncorroborated files, but eventually reporters started verifying the facts. And astonishingly, some of them checked out. Executives who had previously had dinner at the White House, politicians smiling next to Diddy in pictures taken at charity events, billionaires whose names went quietly buried within contracts. For years, folks made jokes about secret circles of power, but now it didn't feel funny anymore. It felt as though the walls closing around the circles were breaking, and what was spilling out wasn't rumors. It was receipts within government agencies. Investigators argued amongst themselves on what to do next. Do they blow the case? Do they bring in larger agencies, or do they shut it all down so there is no mass panic? One official was cited as having said, if we follow this to its conclusion, we're not talking about celebrity scandal anymore. We're talking about a breakdown of trust in entire industries. And yet, there was the nagging question, who was disseminating all of this? For Diddy, imprisoned in a cell, would never be able to have this kind of access. Or would he? Rumors went around that Diddy had set up a failsafe years earlier, a dead man's switch, something that, if activated, would release files automatically to the public. Some claimed that it was stored on encrypted servers. Others said that trusted friends were on standby. Either way, though, the timing was too impeccable to be coincidence. Then the video appeared, shaky, grainy, taken in a dark room. No one had a clue where it came from, but it landed on the internet like a bomb. In the video, a man's voice, distorted but icy, said only one thing. You thought the vault was everything, but the vault was only the beginning. The response was immediate. Comment threads lit up. Pundits unraveled each second of the audio. Was it Diddy? Was it AI? Was it a threat or a warning? Meanwhile, celebrities who had long been eager to distance themselves from Diddy fell silent. No Instagram posts, no tweets, no appearances. PR teams plotted behind closed doors. Some even canceled gigs, citing security concerns. But the public wasn't deceived. They picked up on fear, and fear only fueled the theories stronger. On television talk shows, pundits debated what was unfolding. Was this the biggest celebrity scandal ever? Or was it part of something much greater? A puzzle with power, politics, and billions of dollars involved. As the din hit a fever pitch, a chilling headline appeared. Key witness in Diddy case missing. Journalists camped outside the witness's house, camera crew in tow. But the house was vacant, lights turned off, vehicles still parked in the driveway, phone dead. Neighbors vowed they saw black SUVs looping around the area the previous night. And now the story wasn't merely about evidence. It was about staying alive. Who was intimidating witnesses, and why did it seem as if the walls of justice were being shut down brick by brick? The prosecutors attempted to calm the public. "We are in charge," they asserted. "We will uncover the truth." But their words trembled. Their eyes flicked. Even they were aware control was slipping quickly. And in a cell, deep in the prison building, Diddy waited, quiet, patient, almost as if he understood the storm outside was precisely what he desired. Because if he could not walk out freely, he would ensure no one else slept well. It was no longer a scandal. It was a countdown.